number 10, we have Rose McGowan. Now, back in October of 2017, Rose McGowan slammed James Corden after he made some pretty serious insensitive jokes about a disgraced film producer. When James made the unwise joke during his monologue as the host on the AMFAR Gala Los Angeles, James went on to say, "It was a weird week watching the disgraced film producer be in hot water," and then he went on to ask the audience if any woman in the crowd would watch him take a bath. Rose was not only disgusted with the audience for cheering on the comedian, but she was extremely disappointed with James Corden for making fun of someone who hurt a lot of women. Rose went on to say in a series of tweets where in one she called James Corden a Mother King piglet, and in another one she said, "Hearing the roars and laughs shows exactly what kind of Hollywood you are." James would later come out with an apology and would acknowledge that his joke wasn't right and he was sorry for anyone he offended. However, James should have known better than to shed light on such a hurtful situation. At number 9, we have Halle Berry. Halle Berry is said to be one of the sweetest actors in Hollywood, so it makes you question what James might have done to get on her bad side. With the actress appearing on TBS Drop the Mic show with James, let's just say it got a little heated between the two stars. James would open up the show by mocking the star for her box office flop in the movie Catwoman. Halle then responded by acknowledging Catwoman tanked, but she took Kingsman to the Mother King bank. The two would continue to spit back and forth with each other, with James's jokes being demeaning. Halle was quick to come to the battle to get the crowd to chant her name and won. But this wouldn't be the last of the two to work together. When Halle made an appearance on James's game show Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, the star would then go on to eat an unnamed animal body part to avoid answering a question. Now, if I had to eat some weird body part off an animal, I would probably refuse to work with the star ever again. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Pierce Brosnan. So this feud has had some pretty sour moments. During a game, James' show Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, James recalled a time where Pierce was rude to him at a U2 concert. During the game, James was asked if a celebrity has ever been rude to him at a party. Corden spoke of a time he attended the same U2 concert as Pierce. Now, Pierce was there with friends and they decided to leave halfway through the concert. James went on to note that he and his wife moved into the area that they were in, and Pierce went to push him out of the way when he came back. James went on to say the star didn't even acknowledge James and that he just continued to head back to his area. James then labeled him as the rudest celebrity alive. If someone called me rude after stealing my spot, I probably wouldn't want to work with them either, but at the same time, I certainly wouldn't have pushed them out of the way. Now, Pierce never talked about the incident, so who knows if it was actually true. At number 7, we have Patrick Stewart. Now, in 2010 at the Glamour Awards, James Corden was at the height of his career while he was hosting the event. However, Patrick Stewart was also present at the event, and he was tasked with presenting the category for Film of the Year. When he stepped up to do his role, Patrick would begin to tease the comedian for his body language throughout the event. Patrick would say, "I want to speak to James here." "It's James, isn't it?" James would then walk up to the star and the two had an epic stare down. While the star carried on with his critique, Patrick noted that when the presenters were on stage and the recipients were receiving their awards, James was standing in the back of the stage with his hands in his pockets, looking around like he wished he was anywhere but in the event. Now the two began to spit insults back and forth with each other until James made a pretty insensitive joke about Patrick's age. Well, all I can say is age doesn't define us, and sometimes it's better just to laugh at yourself than to overreact. Number 6, we have Liam Gallagher. Liam Gallagher once called James Corden a knob while stating why he would never join the star on Carpool Karaoke. In an interview with GQ magazine, Liam branded the star as a knob and mistaken him for starring in Gavin and Stacey. Liam was asked if he would ever consider doing Carpool Karaoke, and he refused by saying, "No thank you very much, not a chance mate," with that flat bloke from Kevin and Perry. Liam's girlfriend pointed out that the show he meant to say was BBC's comedy series Gavin and Stacey. Now, James starred in the show in 2007, and that's how he came to stardom. Liam then notes he never watched the show and he doesn't have to watch it in order to know he won't like it. Now, the two did seemingly make up just in time for Liam to play on James Corden's show back in October of 2017. But who knows how long the two will stay on good terms, as Liam once said he likes his potatoes roasted.
Number 5, Alec Baldwin. Another celebrity who has had no trouble calling out Tom Cruise was fellow actor Alec Baldwin in 2009. The Dirty Rock star hosted Elle Magazine's Women in Hollywood dinner and awards show, and what he said had even Tom's wife at the time, Katie Holmes, laughing along with everyone. The actor joked about coming up with a solution to the disproportionate salaries between men and women in Hollywood, and then seemingly came up with an idea to solve the pay gap. Quote, "I believe we can balance the scales if Tom Cruise would lower his quote by a mere $29 million. I realize this may be a little bit unfair since he's not here to defend himself, and I really don't want to put all of this on one man, but if I had to, that man would be Tom Cruise." He went on to assure the audience that his own salary was nothing compared to Tom's. In fact, his annual salary, as he said, is the budget from mints that were featured in one of his movies. But as the saying goes, there really is a grain of truth in every joke. According to Variety, the actor is expected to earn $100 million or more from his new movie Top Gun Maverick, which would be one of the biggest paydays for an actor for a single movie ever. Number 4, Leah Remini. A former longtime Scientologist, King of Queens star Leah Remini opened up about her experiences in the church in her 2015 memoir Troublemaker, much to the disdain of Tom Cruise. In her book, Leah also made some shocking allegations about several well-known Hollywood celebrities. In fact, she recalled a time that she and her husband, Angelo, spent time at Tom Cruise's Beverly Hills mansion when he invited a group of well-known Scientologists and other celebrities including Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. He announced to all the guests that he wanted to play hide and seek and pressured everyone to join in. Remini also explained another bizarre incident when Tom had a meltdown over cookies. Quote, "Once he wanted to make cookies, and there was a package of pre-packaged cookie dough on the counter. He asked, 'Guys, where's the cookie stuff?' Tom seemed like a child who had never been told no, and he screamed at his assistant." And when Top Gun Maverick came out, Remini cautioned fans about supporting him, saying, "Don't let the movie star charm fool you. And no, I will not watch the movie, nor will I ever support or approve of this scam of a man." So she's clearly not one to forgive or forget. Number 3, Katie Holmes. Back in 2012, the former Hollywood power couple Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes announced to the world that they were getting a divorce after 6 years of marriage. News of the A-list split sent shockwaves through the world of show business and sparked waves of rumors and speculation as to why the pair decided to call it quits. After a whirlwind romance, the couple got married in a luxurious Italian wedding ceremony and welcomed their first child together, Suri Cruz. So their divorce came as a shock to everyone. The major reason was allegedly Katie's aversion to raising their daughter in Scientology. Tom basically confirmed this during a 2013 deposition, admitting that this was one of the reasons that his ex-wife filed for divorce. He also revealed that his daughter, Suri, who was just 7 years old at the time, was no longer a practicing member of the Church of Scientology. This was a pretty surprising admission, considering that those who leave the religion are often cut off from other practicing members, which is probably why Katie won sole custody of Suri, which reportedly included ironclad rulings that she would not be exposed to anything Scientology related. And to this day, it appears as though the former couple aren't exactly on good terms, as Tom reportedly hasn't even seen his daughter in years. Number 2, Mickey Rourke. In a new interview with Piers Morgan Uncensored, the boxer-turned-actor was asked about Tom Cruise, and he made it quite clear that he wasn't a fan at all. It was mentioned that his new movie, Top Gun Maverick, made over $1 billion at the box office, and Rourke said, "That doesn't mean jack to me. This guy's been doing the same effing part for 35 years. I got no respect for that." Rourke went on to list some of the actors whose careers he does enjoy and admire, unlike Tom's. And when Morgan asked whether or not he thinks of Cruise as a good actor, Rourke just said, "I think he's irrelevant in my world." And back in 2005, when Tom criticized Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants, Mickey spoke out against him then. Quote, "My therapist saved my effing life and my career. I don't care what Tom Cruise says about therapy. F him." Picking on poor Brooke Shields. People need medicine and they need therapists. Let the Scientologists go effing live on a planet of their own. He was referring to the fact that Scientologists strictly oppose psychiatry and therapy as it goes against their core beliefs. So he's made it pretty clear that he doesn't think very highly of the Hollywood star. And coming in at number 1, John Travolta. Both are active, high-ranking members of the Church of Scientology, but it has been since revealed that the two are not exactly friends. The truth came out when a former bodyguard from the church, Brendan Teague, revealed in 2018 that John Travolta was furious when Tom achieved the highest honor in the organization in 2008. He was awarded the Freedom Medal of Valor from the leader of the organization, David Miscavige. This award is only given to its most dedicated member. John was also said to be frustrated over the fact that Tom has become a major player in the church, and to this day is one of the best known members in the world. Brendan Teague claimed that this event left Travolta feeling extremely jealous. Eventually he grew so angry that he decided to express himself and wrote a scathing letter to Miscavige, which reportedly included the question, "What the hell was this medal all about?" The reason being is that the actor believed himself to be the most dedicated member of the church, and had allegedly introduced more members than any other celebrity. So when he was passed over for the award, John began to despise Tom. It didn't help that only 2 years earlier, John wasn't invited to Tom's wedding with Katie Holmes, so their relationship was already rocky to begin with.
Number 10. Chevy Chase. In 1978, Murray infamously got into a physical altercation with Chase Chevy. After the star returned to Saturday Night Live as a guest host, it began with the two trading some pretty heavy insults towards each other. It started when Murray telling Chase to go get with his wife, and Chase responded by telling Murray his face looked like something Neil Armstrong landed on. The insults seemed to escalate as quickly as their comebacks did, and television following the rest of the cast watched the two display in a physical altercation. Larnie Newman noted, "It was a very sad and painful thing to watch unfold during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in June of 2021. In May of 2012, Murray called his part in the scandal a childish feeling of jealousy and anger he let control him. He went on to say things that he was mad that Chevy left the cast of Saturday Night Live and Murray somehow was avenging Angel, who had to speak for everybody else. Chevy and Murray are soon back on good terms after the fiasco, and everything was fine as the two starred together in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack shortly after the altercation. Number 9. Richard Dreyfuss. Oscar winner Richard explained when he was working with Murray on the 1991 film What About Bob that Murray was a bully. He explained that Bill drank a lot at dinner and let his true colors showed and allowed everybody to see how much of a bully he was. When reflecting on his whole experience on set, he highlighted one incident where he asked Murray to read a tweak in the script and Murray lost his temper. He went on to say that the star became face to face with him, so close that their noses were touching. Murray then went on to scream at Richard at the top of his lungs and said, "Everybody hates you, you are tolerated." Richard then went on to note that he had no time to react because Murray then proceeded to throw an ashtray at him. Luckily the ashtray missed, and rather than making things worse, Richard decided to leave the room. Richard showed us that Murray has a violent past, not just with female co-stars, but also with his male ones. Number 8, we have Laura Ziskin. Richard Dreyfuss wasn't the only person who had problems with Murray and how he handled himself on the set of filming What About Bob. As producer, Laura Ziskin has said that she once had a disagreement with Murray which resulted in him tossing her into a lake. Although at the time she called it playful, in 2003 she claimed the event wasn't so playful, as throughout the set Murray started to become more aggressive. In one incident, Murray asked Laura for an extra day off, and when she said no, he had an epic meltdown and took Laura's glasses off before breaking them and throwing them across the parking lot. The altercation caused everybody to walk off production, and a bunch flew back to LA to film, only after Disney hired some bodyguards to physically separate Murray from harming anyone else between takes. Bill Murray tried to justify his actions in an interview back in 1991, saying he didn't get along with many of his cast and directors, and all he was doing was standing up for himself. Number 7, we have Harold Ramis. Bill Murray had a long decade estrangement from his longtime friend and collaborator Harold. Sadly, the two's friendship collapsed while on set of the film 1993 Groundhog's Day. During a heated creative dispute, Harold said he grabbed Murray's shirt collar and the two got into a heated altercation. In a book later released by Harold's daughter Violet titled Ghostbusters' Daughter: Life of My Dad, Violet would go on to note that the incident happened and Murray wouldn't speak to Harold for over 20 years, and even though Harold tried not to take it personally, he was ultimately left feeling heartbroken and confused about the unsurprised rejection. Murray was unheard from up until Harold was in the hospital, and Murray showed up to visit his old pal unannounced at 7 a.m. in February of 2014 with a box of donuts and a police escort. With Harold losing his ability to speak, he was no longer able to speak to Murray before his passing. However, Murray didn't mind and hung out with Harold for a couple of hours anyways. I'm glad Bill was able to put the two's differences aside and came together for his friend before his passing. Number 6, we have McG. Moving on to the set of Charlie's Angels, filmed in 2000s, director McG, whose real name is Joseph McGinty Nichol, claimed in an interview with Guardian in May of 2009 that working on movies can be pretty stressful at times, even adding that he doesn't think he's ever been on a film that hasn't had some type of altercation break out. In one incident, his nose was obliterated when his head collided with another. At first he didn't want to recall the name of the actor with respect, however he went on to say it was Bill Murray. And the industry is very passionate industry, and people take care of their own work. When Murray heard about the interview, he did his own interview with Times of London in October 2009. The star went on to note that Joseph has a really active imagination and he doesn't understand why he would make up that story. He then took to the situation further by stating a really serious sentence that made many feel uncomfortable. With Joseph coming forward about his experience in past film sets encountering the same situation, it's easy to see why Bill would lie to cover up the allegations, but now that more stars are coming forward, it's clear that McG had nothing to lie about and was warning us all about the actor before these events could happen again.
Number 5, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was another actor to step into the role of the Joker in a later standalone movie. He was one of the best to do it in my opinion, although I don't think anyone can top Heath Ledger. But Joaquin apparently almost got stripped of the movie role because of Jared Leto. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Jared was under the impression that his initial stunt as the Joker would lead to many more movie roles, and there were talks about Jared being the Joker and the movie Joaquin would end up starring in. But likely due to making everyone uncomfortable and unsafe, none of those roles came to fruition. When he got wind that Joaquin Phoenix would be taking on the role to tell the supervillain's origin story, Jared reportedly felt, quote, alienated and upset. In response to the news, Jared actually attempted to stop the new production from happening. The outlet claims that he complained about the movie to both his agents and CAA, and even tried to contact Warner Bros. Partner company to get the movie pulled, obviously to no success. Considering it seems Jared has burned most of his bridges with anyone involved in the DC universe, don't expect him to return as the Joker in any capacity anytime soon, though you'll be able to watch Joaquin probably reprise his role in a sequel. Number 4, Viola Davis. Although Jared Leto makes tons of people uncomfortable while on the set of the Joker, none were as outspoken about how upset it made them like Viola Davis was. In an interview with Entertainment News, Viola said that she was less than pleased with the box of bullets that Leto sent her while on set for the comic book adaptation. Quote, it was a little worrisome. It made you a little nervous, and I'm pretty tough. You know, I got into a few fights when I was growing up, but it scared me a little bit. She then said that she only ever really met Jared after filming ended because he was in character the entire time they were on set. Quote, before that I was only introduced to the Joker, and I almost had my pepper spray out. You know, you remember the bullets you sent me? He gave very interesting gifts. I did not receive any personally, or else I would have got my husband, who was called Headache Ball back in the day when he played football, and I would have said take care of the Joker. I almost wish he did send her a gift now just to see how that drama would unfold. Number Number 3, Cameron Diaz. Not many women have had long-lasting relationships with Jared Leto, except for one woman, Cameron Diaz. They were initially linked back in 1999, and a lot of people suspected that Jared was a rebound for Cameron, who just broke up with her previous boyfriend of a year. Despite maintaining a low-profile relationship, news circulated in 2000 that the couple were engaged. Cameron was spotted with a $15,000 ring at the 2003 Golden Globe Awards. That being said, Cameron was always very hesitant to talk about her relationship with Jared, saying that she didn't want to jinx it. But I guess no need, because the two broke up in 2003. Although she never commented on the relationship directly, she did make hints to Jared being awful to her. Quote, "My rule is that there are no tricks in this game. I believe in honesty and communication and in treating people the way you want to be treated. Love should be unconditional." And for his part too, Jared had admitted that he, quote, "wasn't very nice to her." Whatever that means. Number 2, Dylan Sprouse. Dylan Sprouse, the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody star, very publicly came for Jared Leto's throat back in 2018 when he tweeted out, quote, "Yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is?" Jared has a history of liking women who are much, much younger than him, and Dylan is coming for his throat. Maybe someone close to him got a particularly creepy DM, but either way, he was not having any of his nonsense. The tweet garnered almost 50,000 likes. Although Jared Leto nor his team have made any attempt to reply or even give any mention to the tweet, a lot of users did seem to suggest that there was an open secret about Jared Leto only liking barely legal girls. And lastly, James Gunn, the director of Suicide Squad. In a now deleted tweet that was a reply to Dylan Sprouse's shade posted after he had filmed Suicide Squad, James very not so subtly hinted at some very serious allegations. In response to Dylan's tweet, James Gunn said, quote, "He starts at 18 on the internet." James Gunn insinuating that Jared Leto tries hooking up with underage fans is extremely off base, and comes as no surprise to those who follow the actor after he was accused of being inappropriate with multiple teenage fans.
Number 10, Florence Pugh. As we know, the Hollywood it girl appears in Olivia Wilde's new film Don't Worry Darling alongside Harry Styles. However, there was reportedly much tension on the set between the two women. Florence reportedly wasn't too happy seeing her director hooking up with Harry, considering the fact that at the time she was still with Jason Sudeikis, whom she is very good friends with. So it makes sense that she wouldn't be too happy seeing the two of them together when Jason was allegedly oblivious to the affair on set and even brought their two young children to visit their mother. But what was Harry's role in all of this? Well, not a whole lot, but it's pretty apparent that Florence disapproves of his new romance with Olivia Wilde. During the premiere of Don't Worry Darling at the Venice Film Festival, fans noticed that the actress avoided both Harry and Olivia like the plague. She posed for group shots with the entire cast, but did not get any photos alone with Harry, even though they were both central characters and love interests in the film. Florence also was said to have avoided eye contact with both of them throughout the premiere and seemed to leave the event as soon as possible. So with everything that went down, it's highly unlikely they'll be working together again in the future. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, Shia LaBeouf. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Don't Worry Darling, but in September of 2020, it was announced that he would be replaced by Harry Styles. Olivia then made some very explosive comments alleging that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she has while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demanded my productions. He has a process that in some ways seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them." But Shia was not very happy with this side of the story and decided to publicly expose Olivia. He emailed both the director and Variety to deny that he was fired, instead saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because your actors and I couldn't find time to rehearse." And he proceeded to leak a video of Olivia begging him to stay in the film. Shia seemed to want to set the record straight, but some fans accused him of being bitter and resentful over the fact that Harry ended up replacing him in the film. It sounds like a bit of a reach, but that could be a possibility. Number 8, Zayn Malik. In a moment of honesty, the 29-year-old opened up to US Weekly and revealed the reality of his relationship with Harry, admitting that the two of them barely spoke while they were in One Direction, let alone since. Zayn said, "To be honest, I never really spoke to Harry even when I was in the band, so I didn't really expect that much of a relationship with him, and I haven't had one." Sometime later, possibly in a response to Zayn's comments, Harry appeared on SNL and dragged Zayn during his opening monologue. He said, "I was in a band called One Direction. How crazy would it be if they were here tonight? I love those guys. They're my brothers, Niall, Liam, Louis, and Ringo." If you didn't catch that, he was implying that Zayn was a less important member of the group. group, as many Beatles fans see Ringo Starr as the least talented and least interesting person in the band. So what was his reaction? Well, a source close to the star told Hollywood Life that Zayn doesn't care what his former band member does or says, and that he'd rather not see his name in a headline with Harry ever again. But the whole thing was hardly a surprise to fans, given that the two of them weren't exactly best friends. They were more like co-workers. Number 7. Mark Wahlberg. This one was one of the most unlikely celebrity feuds in the history of celebrity feuds. In 2014, Mark Wahlberg appeared on Conan and revealed that his daughter's obsession with One Direction infuriated him, so much so that he threatened to beat Harry Styles up. It's pretty clear that the actor was never a fan of the singer to begin with and told Conan that his two little girls would rather talk about One Direction than their dad's movies. Quote, "My 4-year-old's going, 'Daddy, I like Harry,' and I'm like, well, I'm gonna punch Harry in the nose when I see him." She pulls out pictures of him and she's hiding pictures in the room, and I pretend I'm ripping them up and I get jealous. But if I see that little prick, he's gonna get it. Insinuating that if Harry didn't watch out, he was going to risk getting a black eye or two. Mark also discussed a plan to have One Direction do a song for one of his movies, only to lure them in so that he could basically beat the crap out of them. Quote, "I could say, 'Hey, I really want to meet One Direction, I'm a big fan, maybe you can do the title track for the song,' and then I would beat the crap out of them in a video." Of course, it seemed like he was just messing around or being sarcastic, but it was a little odd how long he kept the joke going. Number 6. Liam Payne. Twitter fans ridiculed Liam for airing the dirty laundry of his former 1D bandmates on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast. The 29-year-old reflected on the band's highs and lows, as well as the various feuds within the group and their personal problems in recent years. But fans took particular issue with the fact that he said his 2017 debut solo track, Strip That Down, outsold everyone else in the band. In fact, the whole interview came off as a little bit of a humble brag for Liam, and a lot of people were confused how he seemingly thought that he was the most successful member of the band. Liam also claimed that he was the chosen leader of One Direction, and disputed the notion that Harry was a frontman of the group. He insisted that the band was formed around him as a part of a promise that Simon had made to him 2 years prior. He explained that when he auditioned for X Factor the second time, he was thrown into the group, and Simon promised to make it work for him, and allegedly decided that Liam was to be the band's leader. But fans were very skeptical of the claim, and even Lizzo said, "I don't know who lied to that poor boy, but he was not the frontman." So it looks like the question is still up for debate. Number 5. Sarah Foster. The actress shared a video on TikTok where she slammed both Adam and Sumner for their involvement in the year-long affair. She said, "He's obviously a total pig and gross, but this woman who chose to make a viral TikTok video, not even apologizing, but putting it out there for the world to see, for a pregnant woman to see, when she could have just messaged her privately, claiming it's not her fault or something." She went on to say that we don't feel sorry for you. You knew this man was married and you participated. You could have easily ignored the messages. You knew he was married. We do not feel sorry for you. As women, we need to do better. The married man is being a pig and reaching out to you. You hopefully have been raised well enough to be like, "No, sorry, you're married, I can't engage." This chick is giving women a very bad name. But not a lot of people were happy with her commentary because they felt that she focused too much on Sumner instead of pointing out Adam's wrongs. Number 4. Corey Taylor. When Adam was asked by Variety if he considered Maroon 5 to be a pop, rock, or urban band, he replied, "Something unique to this band is that we have always looked to hip-hop, R&B, all rhythmic forms of music, from back when we were writing our first album to now. Rock music is nowhere really. I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party. All of the innovation and the incredible things happening in music are in hip-hop. It's better than everything else." But when Slipknot's Corey Taylor caught wind of his comments, the rocker went off on him and tweeted, "Just because you claim to have moves like Jagger doesn't mean you come anywhere close to rocking like Jagger. Tell that schmuck to go back to the effing voice." Adam also divided fans by saying that there are no rock bands anymore and calling them a dying breed, which clearly angered quite a few people. Number 3. Sebastian Bach. The rock legend has been feuding with the Maroon 5 frontman ever since he gave that interview with Variety magazine, where he said, "Rock music is nowhere really. I don't know where it is. If it's around, no one's invited me to the party." Sebastian responded on on Twitter saying, "Rock music is nowhere, but when you want your team to win The Voice, you chose the song I Remember You. You're welcome." He also slammed Adam's Super Bowl halftime show performance in 2019, tweeting, "Whatever he was trying to do on stage tonight is way more dead than rock will ever be." The Skid Row singer was not the only one to jump on the hate train. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister wrote, "Hey Adam Levine, I hear you're having a lot of trouble getting hip-hop artists to join you for the Super Bowl. You should reach out to your friends in the rock community." Oh wait, never mind. So clearly no one is going to forget those controversial comments that he made about rock. Number 2, Chriselle Storrs. The outspoken actress was less than impressed with the whole Adam Levine scandal. Selling Sunset star Chriselle brilliantly called out the singer for his so-called apology for cheating on his wife Bahati. She tweeted, "When apologizing for cheating publicly, I hate the whole 'we will get through it together' part from a man. Don't speak to her, you've done enough." Most of the Twitter users in her replies agreed and cheered her on for speaking out. However, writer Jimmy Traynor tried to argue that while Adam was guilty of crossing a line, he technically didn't cheat. In response, Chriselle left a series of facepalm and laughing emojis. Unfortunately, the 41-year-old is no stranger to having relationship drama play out in the public eye. In 2019, she was blindsided by then-husband Justin Hartley filing for divorce as he quickly got remarried to Sophia Pernaz. Chriselle implied that this meant that he had been cheating on her throughout their relationship, and that she only found out after the divorce. And coming in at number 1, Blake Shelton. Adam just couldn't resist the urge to take a jab at his former voice coaching rival Blake Shelton on his Instagram story. The Maroon 5 singer decided to address all sorts of burning questions from fans, including some about his time on The Voice. But soon it became clear that Adam did not exactly have fond memories working with Blake. When one fan asked whether or not he missed him, Adam responded by saying, "Blake who?" And when another fan asked him to name his favorite of Blake's albums, he said, "Who is this Blake you speak of?" The latest example of this conflict came during a Maroon 5 concert last year, as one fan captured the shocking moment that Adam leaned over, directly looked into the camera and said, "Hey Blake, F you, we sold more tickets," and then started to scream as the fans cheered. So it seems like he still has a bit of resentment and rivalry towards his former co-host. So I couldn't imagine that Blake would be jumping at the opportunity to work with him again. Number 10, Mark Wahlberg. In 2013, a series of leaked court documents suggested that Tom Cruise had compared working on a film to being as intense as fighting in Afghanistan. It's safe to say that this statement did not go down well with Mark Wahlberg. Later down the line, while he was promoting his film Lone Survivor, which was based on actual events of the failed 2005 mission, Operation Red Wings, where Mark played the role of a Navy SEAL. When asked about the difficulty of shooting the film, he went on an angry rant. Quote, "For actors to sit there and talk about, oh, I went to SEAL training and I slept on the floor. I don't give an F what you did. You don't do what these guys did. For somebody to sit there and say, my job was as difficult as somebody in the military's, how effing dare you, while you sit in a makeup chair for 2 hours." He added that at the end of the day, actors get to go home, go to their hotel room and order effing chicken. Tom's lawyers then jumped in very quickly and claimed that the actor was only joking, and in fact is a staunch supporter of the troops. But the tension was very clearly real. Number 9, Thandie Newton. When speaking with Vulture, Newton revealed exactly why working with Tom Cruise on the 2000 film Mission Impossible was a total nightmare. When asked why she never filmed another movie in the franchise, the actress said, "Oh, I was never asked. I was so scared of Tom. He was a very dominant individual. He tries super hard to be a nice person." She described him as really stressed and dominant, recounting an incident on set in which she and Cruise attempted to finish a night scene on the balcony. Quote, "I don't think it was a very well written scene. I get angry with him, we're frustrated at each other. And Tom made a decision at the very beginning of the movie, unbeknownst certainly to me, that he didn't speak English, which I think was very helpful to him, but it was extremely unhelpful to the rest of us." Thandie went on to say that Tom got so frustrated with her performance that it just pushed her further into a place of terror and insecurity. But despite everything, Thandie insisted that she doesn't think poorly of Tom as a person. Quote, "He wasn't horrible, it was just that he was really stressed. But the pressure, he takes on a lot. I think he has this sense that only he can do everything as best as it can be done." Number 8, Brooke Shields. Telling women what they can and can't wear is one way to make yourself extremely unpopular among the female demographic, but telling them how to give birth is a different kind of insult entirely. Just ask Brooke Shields after she had to deal with public shaming from Tom Cruise, who went on the record criticizing her decision decision to use antidepressants to help her with postpartum depression. Quote, "When someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope. It didn't cure anything. There is no science. There is nothing that can cure them whatsoever." And if that wasn't condescending enough for you, he added, "I care about Brooke Shields because I think she's an incredibly talented woman, but look at where her career has gone." But Brooke was not having it and took the opportunity to stand up for herself and new mothers everywhere. She said, "Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them." Adding that, "I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Mr. Cruz has never suffered from postpartum depression." She called his comments a disservice to mothers everywhere and said that if any good can come of Mr. Cruz's ridiculous rants, let's hope that it gives much needed attention to a serious disease. Number 7. Brad Pitt. Although the two A-list actors have a lot in common, especially when it comes to their careers, they allegedly couldn't be more at odds with each other. In fact, rumors have it that they have been feuding for 25 years, and it all started with one movie, 1994's Interview with a Vampire. The hit horror film where both actors had starring roles really ignited their resentment for one another. And even though the film was nominated for an Oscar and a Golden Globe upon its release, Brad said that he was miserable on set and that Tom being there certainly didn't help. And when asked about his co-star in an interview, Brad did not bother to hold back his feelings at all. Quote, "He bugged me. There came a point during filming when I started really resenting him. He's North Pole, I'm South. He's always coming at you with a handshake whereas I may bump into you. There was this underlying competition that got in the way of any real conversation." Fast forward to 2009, when both actors were starring in World War II dramas, Brad in Inglourious Basterds and Tom in Valkyrie. Not only was Brad's film way better received, but to add insult to injury, he reportedly called Tom's film a ridiculous movie. Number 6. Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. But at the time of meeting, he was still married to Mimi Rogers. Tom eventually divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting up a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, "I was so young when I got married. I look back now and I'm like, what?" She told Red Magazine that she felt isolated during her marriage, and even when she won an Oscar, she described it as, "I was holding a gold statue and I was the loneliest I'd ever been." The divorce took Nicole by surprise, and it got very messy very quickly with the custody battle. In the end, Tom allegedly turned her children against her, as he was granted full custody of their kids, and ended up raising both of them to be Scientologists. But despite all the heartbreak, nothing beats that iconic photo of Nicole leaving her attorney's office, jumping for joy after their divorce was finalized.
At number 5, Chris Brown. Chris Brown used to be a heartthrob that stole our hearts. However, for more than a decade, Brown has repeatedly been accused of treating women poorly, making it really hard for any of us to support the guy. The most high-profile incident involves his former girlfriend Rihanna. When news broke about the way he treated her, we were all left heartbroken to see the images that TMZ leaked of her face. Following the incident, Chris Brown just seemed to get more aggressive, and multiple women would go on to file restraining orders and even call police on the star. The fact that Chris Brown still even had a career after what he did to Rihanna had us all shook. However, his controversial actions have made it pretty hard for any of us to support him, and there's a reason why a lot of us can't even listen to his songs anymore. And number 4, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton and her family used to be the Kardashians of Hollywood. However, the blonde heiress quickly went from being someone we all wanted to being someone we all wanted to forget. The reason many people seem to hate the star is because over the last decade, she has been marketed as a spoiled rich girl by the media and doesn't even seem to notice. She hasn't really been working, and she's been using her connections to live out this teenage dream even though she's no longer a teenager. If she would just live a quiet life and be unproblematic, people might actually start to like her again. She keeps trying to ruin people's dreams and hopes by incorporating the idea that if you want to make it, you need to have rich parents, which isn't true at all. She's made it pretty hard to actually support her, and her image not only hurts herself, but it hurts her family as well. At number 3, Nicki Minaj. Okay, we all used to be actually huge Nicki Minaj fans because she made all of our Barbie dreams come true. Being one of the most successful female rappers, we all used to sit in our basements and scream out her lyrics, especially when it came to her song Super Bass. However, over the last decade, the star has been pretty problematic, and it really made us question her true motives. It seems like if you're a rapper entering into the industry under Nicki, you better watch out, because it seems like she comes for everyone in an attempt to block them from reaching the top. Just take her feud with Cardi B for an example. These two women had the chance to become a powerful duo, however, Nicki felt threatened that another female was climbing the ranks faster than she ever could, and she decided to come for Cardi in a chance to snub her rise. Who can forget the time Cardi threw her shoe at Minaj? It was just one of those moments we knew that we could no longer trust the rapper, as she was no longer real, and she proved that she was really unsupportive towards other females entering into the industry, which was really sad to see. And number 2, Rebecca Black. Rebecca Black was cute until she released her single Friday in 2011. After that, we all started to dislike her for having the most horrendous song stuck in our heads. I swear, even to this day, when I hear the word Friday, all my brain can think of it's Friday, I'm gonna get down on a Friday. And if you haven't heard the song, take my advice, don't, as you just might not like Fridays anymore. After Friday was released, it was quickly dubbed as the world's worst song. Now, Rebecca's video would rack up millions of views, but the reviews were mainly negative, with hundreds of thousands of negative comments. Rebecca would even try to go on to resume her career, but she could never leave Friday behind, which caused her to disappear from the industry completely. And at number 1 today, we have Kristen Stewart. For many years, we all admired Kristen Stewart until she became labeled as problematic and accused of wheeling out some pretty bad behavior in a bid to score attention in headlines. Many people actually started to hate on Kristen Stewart because of her role in the movie franchise Twilight. When many people started to label her as a bad actress, many people forgot to realize that her character in the movie was actually just planned badly, and that throughout her entire career in Hollywood, she has proven to be an extremely talented actress. When Kristen was caught cheating on Robert Pattinson, many fans would come for the star as they felt betrayed that she could do something so horrible to someone so beautiful. The media also has a tendency to go with any story they have on her, and some articles have even had her fans divided on whether they should love her or hate her.
Number 10, Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie was the Harley Quinn to Leto's Mr. J back in the Suicide Squad days, but they most definitely were not as close off screen as they were on screen. A lot of people believe that he took his role as the Joker way too far. Being the first Joker since Heath Ledger, he had massive shoes to fill, and that may have gotten to his head a little bit. I don't know. Although he is known as a method actor, wherein he extends a personification of his character beyond the screen and into real life, he ended up doing some pretty harmful stuff to his co-star Margot Robbie. In fact, he sent the actor a live rat to her on set, apparently in an effort to better personify the Joker. There's absolutely no way she was happy about that, given she's an extremely professional actor and also who likes getting gifted a rat. Number 9, Will Smith. Will Smith is another Suicide Squad co-star who got caught in the craziness of the Jared Leto Joker personification. In fact, he may have gotten it worse, because he was gifted, along with a few others, a dead pig. You heard me right, Will Smith, the A-list actor, got gifted a dead pig. I guess he was trying to make people feel unsettled and uncomfortable with him as a person in hopes that it would translate to how they interacted with the Joker while on screen, but all it did was backfire on Jared Leto. Although he was featured very heavily in the trailer for the movie due to his insane antics, his screen time was cut all the way down to 10 minutes, and he was barely featured at all when the movie finally came out. Will Smith also gave comment to Margot receiving her gift of the rat. When he first met Jared, he said, quote, "This dude walks in and says, 'I got a message from Mr. J,' and he puts a box down in front of Margot, being like, 'This is a gift from Mr. J in honor of your relationship.' Margot starts to open the box and there's a note from the Joker, and I was like, that's cool, that's funny, Jared is like taking it real serious. And Margot opened the box and there was a live rat in the box. I was playing Deadshot, but if I had pearls on, I would have clutched them. He even showed his own personal distaste for the character with, quote, "We all shared some really deep stories about ourselves and our pains and our triumphs. And then on set, you thought he was being a nice guy and you were trying to share your life, and then in the middle of a scene, he throws your childhood trauma back at you and says, 'Dude, the Joker did it.'" Number 8, Robert Pattinson. Although he didn't name Jared Leto specifically, it is pretty obvious who Robert Pattinson was shading during an interview, and that was none other than Jared Leto. While discussing how he got into the headspace to film The Lighthouse, a psychological thriller, he said he would be exhausted leaving the set. This was all during the time of people criticizing Jared Leto, so it seemed really pointed when Pattinson said, quote, "I always say about people who do method acting, you only ever see people do the method when they're playing assholes. You never see someone being lovely to everyone while they're really deep in character. Number 7. Taylor Swift. There's no way that Taylor Swift's army took kindly to Jared Leto dissing their beloved singer. TMZ released a video of the Oscar winner critiquing the young singer's music. In the clip, Leto and his 30 Seconds to Mars bandmates listened to tracks from Taylor's album 1989. After playing some of her songs, the actor quickly became disenchanted by her and really aggressive. He exclaims, quote, "Fuck her, I don't give a fuck about her." Although Taylor Swift never commented on the anger directed at her, her fans sure did. Jared immediately got pummeled online, and in an extremely rare response to criticism, Jared tweeted out, quote, "The truth is, I think Taylor Swift is amazing and an incredible example of what's possible. If I hurt her or her fans, my sincerest apologies." I don't know, man, or you can just not be mean for no reason. Number 6. Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne is another Jared Leto victim from her time on Suicide Squad. Playing the baddie of the movie Enchantress, she almost did a better job of playing a villain than he did. But Jared's weirdo method acting behavior waits for no man, and so as a wrap party gift, he gave Cara used condoms and toys meant for, you know, intimacy. She did not take too kindly to the gifts, obviously, especially because Cara had a rumored fling with Jared 4 years prior to the release of their movie together.
Number 5. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson's beef with Madonna all started after Madonna attempted to date Michael Jackson in the early 90s. Jermaine Jackson wrote in his book, "You are not alone, Michael, through a brother's eyes." And he thought Madonna sincerely adored Michael, but it wasn't a mutual feeling. And she committed 2 cardinal sins. The first was she was hell-bent on loosening him up and getting him to see life through her eyes. The second mistake was when Michael went out for dinner with her one night. Madonna tried to criticize Janet, and Michael was furious, and the two never went on a date again. In 1994, Janet would tell Vibe, "I never said hate. Hate is a strong word, but if I did hate Madonna, I'd have a valid reason." After that interview was published, Madonna told VJ Kurt Lauder that Janet dissed her and she didn't know why, and when she read it herself, she was like, "Okay, this sounds ominous. What did I do? I've never met the woman. I don't know anyone she knows. I'm mystified." Later, when Janet was asked about going head to head with Madonna, Janet would reply by saying, how do I put this? I think what I do has class to it. I'll say that." In 2012, it would then seem to be Madonna who was igniting the fire during the Super Bowl halftime show press tour. She would snidely address Jackson's nipplegate by saying, "You don't have to show nipples to be interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean you're cutting edge if you do, right?" Number 4. Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow and Madonna were best friends for years, but they reportedly had a falling out when Madonna divorced Guy Ritchie in 2008. Sources would start to claim that the ladies just have less and less in common, but then Gwyneth would hint that there was far more to the story. Gwyneth would reportedly tell Vogue, "I can be mean, I can cave into gossip, I can ice people out, and I can definitely harbor revenge. In fact, I'm having a situation right now with a friend where I'm feeling pretty angry, but revenge is corrosive and doesn't make me feel good." Gwyneth would then reference her longtime personal trainer, Tracy Anderson, by saying, "It's good that Anderson doesn't train Madonna anymore. It was too much. She keeps people waiting. It takes up your whole day." The source would then tell US Weekly that the beef started when Madonna mistreated Gwyneth, when they said Madonna would defecate on her over and over again after Gwyneth dropped her. Madonna feels Gwyneth abandoned her, and now Madonna will do pretty much anything to make her suffer. Number 3. Deadmau5. In fairness to Madonna, it seems like Deadmau5 has had beef with about every artist on the planet. However, that being said, when the DJ and producer took Madonna to task in 2012 for comments she made about substances in relation to Ultra Music Festival, when introducing DJ Avicii at the festival, Madonna would ask the crowd, "How many people in this crowd have seen Molly?" Deadmau5 was furious, tweeting, "Very classy there, Madonna. Such a great message for the young music lovers at Ultra. Cue the effing philanthropist. But hey, at least you're hip and trendy. Effing can't smack my head hard enough right now. I can appreciate her mediocre career and all good deed done. But what the F is that? That's your big contribution to EDM? That's your big message to Ultra attendees? Hipsters speak for looking for substances. F off, effing idiot, F." Madonna would never respond to his comments, but she did try to awkwardly hug him at the 2015 2018 title launch. Number 2, Sandra Bernhard. In the early 90s, comedian Bernhard was one of Madonna's best pals. They even appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman together. Then, all of a sudden, something definitely changed. While neither Sandra nor Madonna have stated what actually happened between them, Sandra has been pretty vocal about her distaste for Madonna as a person. While Sandra does respect Madonna as an artist, she just finds Madonna in general just a little trashy. Sandra once told Dot 429 that we were friends, we don't speak anymore, I have kept my friends my whole life, but Madonna feels differently when addressing Madonna's younger boyfriend. Sandra would also say, I'm not sure how involved she is with these young boys, she has 4 kids at home. At number 1 today we have Arsenio Hall. When Madonna appeared on the Arsenio Hall show in 1990 to promote Dick Tracy, she made the comedian feel exceedingly uncomfortable by bringing up his ex-girlfriend Paula Abdul and Abdul's rumored new flame, John Stamos. She would even proceed to get on Hall's nerves by saying, are you jealous of John Stamos? I want to know how it feels to be dumped for John Stamos. She then offered Hall a gold ring before saying, because I feel bad for you. Paul laughed it off before adding, for those of you who don't know, there was rumors that Paula Abdul and I were dating, and then I guess Paula showed up at the Grammys with John Stamos, and it was a full house. I couldn't go. Madonna then proceeded to go on by saying Paula wanted someone who was home more often. Hall then kept his cool, but lamented, wow, you're telling all my business? Madonna would go on to defend her move by saying, I know you were heading in the direction of getting into my intimate life, so I thought I'd turn it around. They would eventually change the subject, but the tension between the two would remain for the rest of the episode, and Madonna would proceed to call Hall hairstyle tired and suggested he and best friend Eddie Murphy were more than friends. On the bright side of Hall, Entertainment Weekly reported it was the show's highest rated episode ever.
Number 10, Lady Gaga. The Maroon 5 frontman seems to have a lot of feuds with female artists, especially ones that you wouldn't expect, like Lady Gaga. Adam criticized her music in 2011 when he tweeted, Lady Gaga took Vogue and Express Yourself and put them in a blender. The result? Born This Way. Then only 2 years later, he slammed her creative choices when she dropped her Applause music video from Art Pop, which referenced several major works of art throughout history. Adam wrote, ugh, recycling old art for a younger generation doesn't make you an artist, it makes you an art teacher. I unabashedly love writing and performing pop music for both myself and everyone around me. That's it. It doesn't need any extra sauce. Gaga hilariously responded, tweeting, uh-oh guys, the art police is here. Adam then wrote, by the way, I'm not an artist, I sing in a band and I make music with my friends. Methinks thou dost protest too much. Yikes. While we're at it, we should call the grammar police. Loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, Emily Ratajkowski. The model and actress straight up called Adam Levine a while sharing her thoughts about the cheating scandal, just hours after he publicly denied the affair. Emily said, I don't understand why we continue to blame women for men's mistakes, especially when you're talking about 20-something-year-old women dealing with men in positions of power who are twice their age. The power dynamic is so skewed, it's ridiculous. Like, it's manipulative, I can't imagine. In a second post, the 31-year-old followed it up with, I think a huge problem in our culture right now is we say, oh, men are monsters, they're terrible, they're horrible. Then we don't hold them accountable. We blame other women and ask women to adjust their behavior, instead of just saying that men need to change their behavior. It's sexism, it's classic misogyny. The actress actually filed for divorce earlier this month from her film producer husband, Sebastian Bear-McLeod, after 4 years of marriage, following reports that he was unfaithful as well. So Emily is clearly talking from experience here. Number 8, Lindsay Lohan. Chaos erupted in Hollywood when Lindsay Lohan's infamous sex list was leaked to In Touch Weekly. Adam Levine then went on Howard Stern and denied sleeping with the actress, even though his name appears on the list. The singer was following in the footsteps of Terry Richardson and James Franco, who also appeared on that same list and publicly denied sleeping with her too. Howard asked Adam, so you don't know Lindsay Lohan? To which he replied very clearly, I did not have sexual intercourse with Lindsay Lohan. Then he decided to throw her under the bus completely when Howard asked who did sleep with her, to which Adam said, A lot of people probably did, I don't know. That last part was both unnecessary and hurtful. But what it comes down to though is that no one except Lindsay and the men on the list will ever know the truth. And while she admitted that the list was real by saying it was a step of her AA program, she didn't explicitly say it was a sex list, so we'll never really know for sure. Number 7, Christina Aguilera. In 2012, Adam started a beef with his fellow coach on The Voice and used a contestant called Tony Luca to antagonize her. The feud culminated with Tony's performance of 99 Problems, which Adam insisted on because he knew it would make Christina uncomfortable. He was right, and she got so offended by the song choice that she told him, "Your beautiful wife and your daughter and family are here tonight, and I just thought the lyrical connotation was a little derogatory towards women." Weeks later, a source told Radar Online that Adam went right up to Christina and called her the C word, to which she responded by demanding that he should be fired. Quote, "She's sick of being treated this way. Christina is so sick of Adam being looked at as the golden boy of the show. If America knew how disgusting he was, they would be appalled." Another insider said that the feud was constant and that the singer preyed on her in subtle and often passive-aggressive ways to deliberately try and set her off. Number 6, David Draymond. The Maroon 5 singer recently got himself into hot water after getting embroiled in a sexting scandal involving flirtatious messages he allegedly sent to several women. But if that wasn't bad enough, just a few days ago it was revealed that he believes that hot women do not listen to metal. This questionable opinion was uncovered when a screenshot of the singer's messages were leaked online. Adam was talking to a woman called Alison Rousseff, who said that she listens to metal. In response to that, he wrote, "Said no hot chick ever other than you." The comment angered a large group of metal fans, especially David Draymond, who is the lead singer of the band Disturbed. David took to his Twitter to defend his subculture and wrote, "I don't know, Adam Levine, I think my wife is pretty damn hot, and so do a lot of other people, and she likes metal. You need to improve your DM game, bud." So not only were his comments very ignorant and stupid, but they were also just flat out wrong.
Number 5, Erin Foster. Erin Foster finds Meghan Markle a spoiled brat who has it all. Now, Erin is a comedian, performer, and writer who is known for her history of putting several celebrities on blast, including Meghan. In the months of November 2017, Erin would come for Meghan when she posted a photo of Meghan from her days on the game show Deal or No Deal, and she captioned the photo as "Never Forget." Later on, she would then post another picture of Meghan where it would show Meghan with a briefcase from the same show. Erin would then proceed to caption the photo with an even more rude caption that read, "This briefcase is filled with my plans to become famous." It's no secret that Erin considers Meghan to be nothing more than a fame-hungry social climber, and with everything that's been going on lately, it proves that Meghan is definitely someone who played her cards right to get everything she ever wanted. And now that she has it, Erin isn't scared to call her out on it. While the whole world at first criticized Erin for posting the picture, they should have been looking at the facts that Meghan knew exactly what she was getting herself into. And number 4, Christy Swan. Australian TV personality and author Christy Swan has hated Meghan since the beginning, and following the news on the royal engagement between Prince Harry and Meghan, the radio host wrote on Facebook, "For some reason, I still haven't warmed to her. It's her manner. She looks like she's performing to me. It looks like she's portraying a concocted humility of acting." While Meghan is indeed a brilliant actress, it's not hard to see why Chrissy believes that she is acting to show the world that she is head over heels for Harry. Since the beginning, Chrissy has always been keen on critiquing Meghan Markle. She even first opened up about her judgment on her personal Facebook page, which would state that Chrissy would never warm up to Meghan, as she was under the impression that since the beginning, Meghan has always been acting. And since Meghan has continued to play the same narrative that the royals hated her, and we probably should take this as a hint that there might be some truth behind what Chrissy has been saying. However, instead, Chrissy's Facebook page has turned into an open field of judgment, as hundreds of fans have expressed their agreement or disagreement with Chrissy. So do you think Chrissy is right and Meghan is just acting? And let us know in the comments below. And number 3, Samantha Grant. Meghan Markle's estranged sister, Samantha Grant, would expose her relationship with her sister in a tell-all book. Samantha would highlight that Meghan isn't as innocent as she seems, even though they grew up in different lives sharing the same father. Samantha doesn't have any sort of relationship with Meghan whatsoever. When the rumors began to swirl about Prince Harry's engagement to Meghan, Samantha stated that she felt like Meghan was taking advantage of her current situation to become a household name. Samantha would even state that Meghan has a history of lying and manipulating certain settings in her sites for no reason. While Samantha isn't exactly a celebrity, she's still worth mentioning because who knows you better than your own siblings. Also, she's had some pretty good opinions on Meghan that we should have listened to before we all took Meghan's side in the beginning. Samantha has labeled her sister as a social climber and has claimed that when she needed her sister at the most, she was never there for her. Later, Samantha would even publicly bash Meghan again when she claimed that she wasn't even invited to her wedding. Given that the two sisters did end up growing up in different households and the fact that they did live different lives for most of their lives, while the world bashed Samantha for just looking for attention when she came out with her story, however, given that we've seen Meghan do a complete 180 in years to come after Samantha's comments, it's safe to say that she wasn't just using Meghan's name for clickbait. Number 2, Katie Hopkins. It's no secret that Katie Hopkins hates Meghan Markle, as she's been scrutinizing every one of Meghan's moves since the beginning. When the scandal of Meghan and Harry first started to make headlines, Katie would hop on the trend and she would share a shocking media rant with the world. The Daily Mail writer and media personality made it really clear that she has no respect for someone like Meghan Markle, with Katie finding her move to leave the royal family distasteful. She would even bash Meghan for being addicted to Instagram. Katie has also been very vocal when it comes to labeling Meghan as an American Kate Middleton and a budget Princess Diana with an Oscar-winning innocent face. Katie was also furious when Prince Harry pleaded to the media to respect his girlfriend's privacy, as Katie would say in her social media rant that if you don't want Miss Sparkle trolled on social media, advise her to stay away from posting pictures of bananas spooning on her Instagram account. Katie's rant would also include her wishing that Meghan and Harry would end up losing their royal titles. She feels like Meghan's relationship is coming off as a desperate to be a celebrity move. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Daniel Radcliffe. Now, Daniel Radcliffe doesn't just have a distaste for Meghan Markle, but he honestly just hates the whole royal family altogether. Daniel has never been afraid to confess that he doesn't agree with the whole country's appreciation for the royal family. Even though he is a patriot by heart, he doesn't understand why there is still a need for monarchy. He also didn't shy away from stating that he is extremely proud to be English. However, he believes that the monarchy still symbolizes a lot of things wrong with this country, and he doesn't understand why countries still follow the monarchy. While Daniel has said that he does sympathize with Meghan because of the harsh treatment she's gotten from the press, he also doesn't think the royal family is doing anything wrong. He simply just doesn't like them because they represent his symbol of class division, which is something he doesn't particularly like because he is an upper middle class kid. While Daniel has chosen to shade the royal family in the most respectful manner, he definitely chooses to distance himself from the royal family for a reason, and we should probably take that as a hint going forward. Coming in number 10, we have Prince William. A friend of Prince William recently told the Daily Beast that the prince feels utterly betrayed by Prince Harry's new book Spare, and that he hated Prince Harry and Meghan due to the highly personal nature of the attacks they have unleashed on him and his wife Kate Middleton. After days of sensational leaks and headlines from the book, the friend also said they believe it is now completely impossible that their relationship will ever be healed, and said that although they believed Harry and Meghan will still be invited to the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla, they suspected that William would insist they should be relegated to the cheap seats. The friend would also say that even if Harry and Meghan decided not to even show their faces, no one would mourn their absence. The friend would also go on to say it's impossible to exaggerate the extent of William's contempt for Harry and Meghan now. He absolutely hates them and can't believe that Harry would do this to him and Kate. He feels utterly betrayed and deeply saddened by everything that has happened. There will be no way back after this. The thing that is so sad is that it was a tight family and Harry has blown it all up for what? He has literally turned his entire family against him. It seems like Harry and William have been at odds for a while because in the book Spare, Harry talks about how William attacked him and caused Harry to fall on the ground and break a dog bowl. With both Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace not responding to the allegations, it's really clear that they would rather just let this situation fizzle out on its own. Number 9, King Charles. According to various sources, the one who has taken Meghan and Harry's documentary and Harry's book Spare more seriously is King Charles III, who made the determination to confront the issue head on. While sources close to the king have said that he does not plan to go to the British Parliament to ask Prince Harry and Meghan to lose their titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, he will also not appear to the media to criticize the couple, as he plans to do something more decisive, and that is to cut all ties off officially with the couple. King Charles has basically applied the law of ice to his son and his son's wife, and he will no longer be inviting them to family gatherings, whether it be public or private. It's also been reported that the monarch will not be asking them to accompany him on his traditional vacations in Scotland as Queen Elizabeth II did, And on top of that, they will also not be invited to this year's coronation ceremony of King Charles, which takes place on May 6, 2023. This decision will also affect Harry and Meghan's children, as they will no longer be welcome to participate in royal and religious celebrations. While it's known that Charles hates confrontation, during his first speech in a television interview after the passing of his mother, he would say, "Harry and Meghan, we send you our love, but you know, love has been spurned." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, Howard Stern. Howard Stern isn't a big fan of Prince Harry, and he has a lot to say with Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, with Howard stating that the couple in the series came off as such whiny bees. The radio show host on Sirius XM show would say, "I gotta tell you man, I just don't get it." And honestly, I'm with Howard on this one because I don't get it either. Despite his criticism, Howard would state that he sympathizes with Harry over the loss of his mother, Princess Diana, as the palace treated her really poorly, and Harry lost her at such a young age after watching her battle with this hate. But he would also state, "But Jesus Christ, when those two, Harry and Meghan, start whining about wah 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 wah, they don't like me, and Meghan wants to be loved in this country, it's just weird to see two people who keep screaming, we wanted our privacy, we wanted the press to leave us alone, and then what is their special that they put on Netflix, showing you them and their kids and their life?" Howard would then note that the docuseries was like the Kardashians, except it was pretty boring to watch. Howard would then also take time to throw a jab at Harry's relationship by saying, "I think he's eventually not gonna dig her, I'm telling you." Number 7, Bethany Frankel. Bethany Frankel's legit rant included the suggestion that Harry and Meghan should make a documentary about women's issues and racism instead of retelling their story about the royal family, and she also didn't hold back when it came to sharing her thoughts on Prince Harry's new memoir, as she thinks the Duke of Sussex has taken it a step too far. Bethany said, "It's too late to change the name of Harry's book to Dirty Harry Laundry. I mean, if I had a nickel for every person who had a throwdown with a family member, brother, it's crazy. How much more?" In a video, the former Real House of New York City star went on to suggest that a better name for the book would be her own Bravo catchphrase, mentioning it all, while predicting how intimate Harry and Meghan were going to get about their lives in the future. Bethany would also go on to ask what the couple's overall goal was to achieve, as they have money, they're getting the attention they didn't want, but at the same time, they're getting the attention they did want. She would also note that if they wanted to tackle women's issues and racism, they should have made a docuseries about that, but it seems like the biggest topic Harry and Meghan can't stop talking about is their family. It seems like her biggest problem is that Harry keeps trying to get sympathy for Meghan, but the way he and Meghan are going about it is just achieving opposite results. Number 6, Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton has been completely silent about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix documentary, but apparently she's pretty hurt and feels betrayed. An inside source has confirmed that Kate's husband, William, isn't planning to give his side of the story or openly retaliate, and this whole thing is remaining dignified and getting on with the job. But Kate feels hurt and betrayed that Harry would do this to her, especially as the pair used to be so close. In Harry's book Spare, he would write that both Kate and Prince William were allegedly religious suit watchers, and that they were both in disbelief when he started dating Meghan. However, it seems like when Meghan became his fiance and joined their Fab Four, things would take a sour turn, with Harry implying that William felt pressure to marry Kate because she fit into this mold by saying, "For so many people in the family, especially obviously men, there can be temptation or an urge to marry someone who would fit into the mold, as opposed to somebody who you're perhaps destined to be with. The difference between making decisions with your head or your heart. My mom certainly made most of her decisions, if not all of them, with her heart, and I am my mother's son." And to hear this must have really hurt Kate, so I don't blame her and the rest of the royal family for icing Prince Harry and Meghan out completely. At number 5, we have Jack Allison. Jack Allison used to write for Jimmy Kimmel Live back in 2010. The writer would then tell a story on Twitter in 2019 about the time he went to a union meeting that James Corden also attended. Jack noted the WGA meeting was only for the late night writers. However, James Corden showed up with none of his staff to advocate a lower pay grade for the writers, which meant James made a special trip to ask a trade union to allow him to decrease the salaries of his employees at the late night show. Jack explained that James wanted to hire writers' assistants and he wanted to give the assistants a chance to be there, and that's why there would be a lower pay grade for them. James would then later say he never wanted to pay the writers less than they deserved. However, Jack would tweet out later to deny the comedian's claims and said, "I said what I said and it was accurate." At number 4, we have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is known for his ruthless and hilarious comedy pieces. It didn't surprise anyone when we found out the star would take on James Corden on the show Drop the Mic. Now, when the two finally did take the stage, the insults definitely came spewing out and both needed ice for the burns they were about to receive. James took a jab at Kevin's height and even brought out a little white stool to get Kevin to stand on. When it was finally Hart's turn to take the stage, he definitely came in with the heat by telling James that he may be small, but his bank account was big. The star then went on to say, people are nice to his face, but when they get home, he's not the comedian they wanted to see. Let's just say this battle was not a disappointment, and it proves that our height does not define us. At number 3, we have Britney Spears. Britney Spears once said carpool karaoke with James Corden was extremely awkward. And the video shows us it truly was. In an interview, Britney said the show was fun and James was extremely nice. However, she found her overall experience awkward. Britney noted that sometimes she would have to tell the star that she didn't want to hear the song again, and it was cut out of the video. One of the songs she asked him not to play again was, of course, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Britney said he just kept playing them. And then he put on a wig, and Britney felt like she had to go along with it because he was so nice, but she was really embarrassed throughout the whole process. Safe to say you probably won't catch Britney in a car with James again. At number 2, we have Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey almost refused to sing a song on Carpool Karaoke. When the singer showed up for her segment, she said she had no idea she had to sing. Mariah was signed on James's first episode, but there was one catch: she was refusing to sing. James said she came out and said, "I'm not singing today." James, being completely understanding, said he would drive around and they would just have a chat. While struggling to initially secure even a fifth-rate act for the show, James was excited to sign Mariah Carey. So when on the drive, he said to himself, this is carpool karaoke, so without the singing, it wouldn't be the show he wanted. So the star decided to sing to Mariah, so at least it was still on the show. Luckily for James, Mariah would change her mind and would sing along to a number of her greatest hits with the comedian. In the number 1 spot today, we have Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams once walked out of carpool karaoke, and how he did it will definitely leave you laughing. Bryan was invited onto the Best of 80s carpool karaoke segment, which would be in honor of the Back to Future anniversary. Now, James would note during a game of Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts that he didn't think Bryan's management's team told Bryan it was sort of a collaboration with lots of other singers from that time period, because when the star walked in and saw the list of other people and saw he was going to be working with James Corden, he walked out of the building and bolted to his car. Bryan was never heard from or seen from on the set again. He just bolted and was gone, which makes you wonder who was on that list to make him bolt, or was it just James Corden? Starting off our list today at number 10, we have The Affair. So it's clear that Jada Pinkett Smith's affair with August Alsina crossed a lot of boundaries, especially since August was one of Jaden's best friends. What makes the situation even more unsettling is that August has even stated that Will gave him his blessing to continue his relationship with his wife. While August definitely didn't do anything wrong to be ashamed about, he did completely give himself to a relationship with Jada just to be thrown to the trash like he was nothing. Even though his relationship might have occurred with honesty and communication between all parties, the age difference between Jada and August definitely raised a lot of eyebrows, with critics being quick to point out that August was in fact fact introduced to the family as Jaden Smith's best friend. Number 9. Took advantage of August Alsina. When it comes to August and Jada's entanglement, because apparently it wasn't an affair, it was an entanglement, there has been a lot of questions, especially when it comes to the notion that Jada definitely took advantage of August's mental state. When Jada started seeing August, he was struggling to cope with a very vulnerable time of his life. Being 22 at the time, August was struggling with his health, as he was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition that had him hospitalized on multiple occasions. And with Jada stating that she was mentoring him, it would have an inside source tell Page 6 what kind of mentoring was she giving him, where he felt he was giving his all to a relationship that left him devastated and hurt. You did not help him, you destroyed him. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming back at our list today in the number 8 spot, we have Hates Woman. During an episode of the Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett Smith would have a pretty hypocritical moment when she said that the racial divide between women of color and white women should shrink because they have all been oppressed for their gender, but she candidly revealed that she carried her own biased opinion when she said later on, she went on to note that she had a racial bias towards blonde white women. And when she sees a woman with white blonde hair, she just gets triggered and she has to force herself to stop lashing out at them in the process for no reason. Jada then went on to note that she has these feelings because blonde white women used to bully her in school, but we really had to question if this was because she feels scared about the bond Margot Robbie has with Will Smith. Number 7. Tries to become the woman she hates. So we all know Jada hates women who have blonde hair, and a lot of you have pointed out in the comments in some of our previous videos that it's weird that she has such a bias when it comes to women with blonde hair, as she herself has donned the blonde hair baddie movement, which makes you wonder, does she have a tendency of becoming the woman she hates? As it's clear that her comments about hating women had nothing to do with the girls who bullied her in school, and it was more just an indirect comment thrown as a diss towards Margot Robbie. Because as soon as Margot and Will worked together in the movie Focus, Jada started dyeing her hair blonde and telling her husband to get in shape so Margot didn't embarrass him on the big screen. Number 6. The Oscar slap. The 94th Academy Awards was interesting to the point that everybody is still cracking jokes about it today, even at the 95th Academy Awards that just passed. And what's not funny is that everyone keeps making jokes about violence, when the infamous slap definitely is still hurting not only Chris Rock but also Will Smith. After Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, she would scrutinize her husband by rolling her eyes and giving him an "are you kidding me" look. The look then definitely wiped the simple smile and laugh from Will's face, and he would stand up and take the stage to defend his wife. Even though Jada has been like, I didn't force him to do this and I'm appalled by his actions, maybe she didn't do it, but she did encourage him to defend her name, and she did have the power from stopping her husband from ruining his career. Number 5. Angelica Houston. Adam's Family star Angelica Houston was essentially hurt by Bill Murray's behavior on set of Wes Anderson's 2004 film. Angelica said Bill was horrible after working with him, and in May of 2017, Houston told Vulture that during her first week of set, Bill invited the entire cast for dinner except for her. She went on to say that everyone went out for dinner a little dog-faced at the fact she wasn't there or had been invited, and throughout the day they were telling her, oh, we really don't want to go, but they all went otherwise. The whole situation really hurt Angelica. With the film being shot all over Italy, Angelica noted that she didn't see Bill again until they were on set to shoot in Florence. When she entered the set, Bill greeted her and asked her how she was, and even said, "I miss you." In the heat of the moment, Angelica looked at him and said he was full of it, and told Bill that he didn't miss her. Murray is said to be confused for a moment, but was unfazed by the comment. Angelica showed us that Bill didn't care about his castmates, and he wasn't afraid to single them out and make them feel unwanted in many situations. Number 4, we have Richard Donner. In the 1988 film Scrooge, directed by Richard Donner, follows Bill Murray as he plays a selfish, cynical television executive Frank Cross, as he's haunted by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve. Being the first film that Donor and Murray were set to work in together, Donor was worried because he didn't know if the pair would get along. And considering Murray's past behavior on other sets, I don't blame him. With Scrooge being a box office success, Donor came forward to say that Murray was super creative actor, but occasionally was difficult to work with. He also noted he was only as difficult to work with as any other actor. Cast and crews have gone on to say that the source between the rift between Donor and Murray was mainly because Murray's approach to acting is fully under the approach of method acting. When on scene, Murray has an approach that is somewhat wild and reckless, which can pose difficulties for actors and directors who are more comfortable with working in more traditional methods. With there being 2 sides to every story, Murray went on to say that the two had a disagreement over every single minute of the day because Donor demanded for lines to be delivered louder. Despite their differences on set, the two were still able to work it out and create an amazing film, which is still today's best holiday classic films to watch for the Christmas season. Number 3, Geena Davis. On the 1990 film set of Quick Change, Geena Davis explained how she was harassed and that she should have walked out. In her memoir titled Dying of Politeness, the Oscar-winning actress highlighted the actor once screamed at her on set for being late and continued to yell as he followed her to her trailer on the set. The altercation happened in front of a large crowd, cast, crew, and onlookers, but the star noted she should have walked away from their first meeting or profanely defended herself so she wouldn't have gotten the part. Davis and Murray first met in a hotel suite where he continued to try to use a massage device on her throughout her audition after her initial refusal. Davis explained she could have avoided the inappropriate treatment if she knew how to react or what to do during the audition, but she also didn't want to appear hard to work with, so she stayed quiet. She then went on to say that there's no point in regretting things, yet she's still here regretting it. This isn't the first time Murray has been linked to inappropriate behavior, as recently on the Searchlight Pictures suspended the production of Being Mortal after allegations surfaced of Murray engaging in an inappropriate way towards other cast members. Murray tried to defend his actions by saying, "I did something funny and it wasn't taken that way." Number 2, Jennifer Butler. On October 12, 2008, Jennifer Butler filed for divorce from Bill Murray, while alleging that their relationship was brutal and uncomplimentary. After 11 years together, the couple's relationship ended with both parties being accused of ugly behavior that played out in front of the press. While filing for divorce, Jennifer also requested at the time that there be a restraining order placed against her husband. While Bill's lawyers did come out to say they couldn't comment on the fact of the case, they did say Bill was deeply saddened by the breakup, and Jennifer Butler's accusations against her husband showed that Murray was aggressive both on and off set, and that her story should have been the reason the star was cancelled years ago before this mess got any worse. The two remained loving parents to their 4 children and would remain that way on best behavior for the best interest of their children. Number 1, Lucy Liu. Lucy's experience with Bill on the set of Charlie's Angels was truly heartbreaking, considering the stars showed amazing chemistry on screen. However, Lucy went on to say that she got into an argument with Murray on set and he started using language that was inappropriate and unacceptable. On the Los Angeles Times podcast, Asian Enough, Lucy said that during the confrontation, she stood up for herself and did not regret doing it. The star went on to note that no matter how high you get on the totem pole, there's no reason to put other people down. Liu went on to say that the clash came during a rehearsal on a scene which had recently been reworked. Bill was unable to come because he had to attend a family gathering, and when he learned about it, he was upset and hurled insults at her. Lucy definitely wasn't having it, and she definitely wasn't going to sit around and be talked to in a degrading language, so she decided to speak up for herself and stand by the one thing she had, which was her self-respect and dignity. Murray later downplayed the incident by saying, "Look, I will dismiss you completely if you are unprofessional in working with me. When our relationship is professional and you're not getting that done, forget it." Since the incident, many crew members who were on the set have told Lucy they're really grateful for what she did. Lucy then went on to say that since the film, her and Murray reconciled and that they have nothing bad to say about him. The two started talking at the Saturday Night Live reunion, and he was perfectly nice to her, but she also noted she would no longer sit around and be walked all over. Like Lucy, many stars have addressed their concerns about Bill over the years, and Hollywood should have been keeping an eye on it before matters got worse. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Think Too Highly of Themselves. Sometimes you can reach a certain level of fame and you forget about all the hard work and people who helped get you to the top, and you start to forget about all of them, and in the process you can sometimes get lost and become too full of yourself. And this is exactly what happened to the Smith family. While Will and Jada seem to be the main targets of this statement, when the Los Angeles Times caught up with Janet Hubert to clarify her criticism of Jada and Will, whom she is already accused of screwing over the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air cast years earlier in contract talks, Janet would say that they simply needed to get over themselves by saying, "You ain't all that, you're not kings and queens, you're not royalty, you're simply entertainers." But this is clearly not how the Smith family sees things, especially Will, who back in 2007 had a Kanye West moment when he told the Daily Mail that his ambition was to be the first black president in US history, something to which Barack Obama beat him to first, and then Will went on to say that Barack Obama stole the idea from him, but it was okay as he went first and soon he will take his turn. In 2015, Will would then again tell CBS, I gotta be the president, come on. What else would I run for? Number 9. Jaden's an egomaniac. Jaden Smith's outlandish behavior certainly isn't helping with his mom and dad's reputation in Hollywood circles, despite a hit and miss record in his short career as an actor. The homeschooled young man has already irked movie makers and fans alike by declaring himself the future of filmmaking in many of his bizarre tweets. Jaden's online output had been both a source of entertainment and a cause for concern, with his cryptic comments about the world around him bordering on to seem delusional from time to time. In an interview with GQ magazine, Jaden would reveal that he had started an initiative called Mystery School, inspired by secretive work from ancient scholars. In the same interview, he would then refer to himself as being a scientist and claim that all of his past antics have been part of this large-scale social experiment, and he has become 100% fearless in the process. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Willow's chatter. If you thought Jaden was the most creative member of the Smith household, then you've yet to meet Willow. With Willow being 2 years younger than her brother, she still outdoes him when it comes to wacky comments and uncomfortable interviews. During a Q&A with the New York Times, Willow would reveal that she had the ability to manipulate time. When she said, time for me, I can make it slow or fast. However I please, and that's how I know it doesn't exist. Willow then went on to tell Style magazine that she wrote her novels because there aren't any existing books she already likes. When the interviewer tried to get back on track with questions about which theme she felt reoccurring in her music, Willow answered by saying, "The feeling of being like this is a fragment of a holographic reality that's a higher consciousness is made. Either there's a whole philosophical level to her track Whip My Hair, the world is completely missing, or she's getting way too into quantum physics. But I would like to think if I whip my hair back and forth, I could figure out what she was trying to say." Number 7. The kids freaked out Sony executives. If you're thinking the Smith kids and their erratic behavior has no effect on Will's and Jada's standing in Hollywood, then you might want to change your minds, as a leaked email that was exchanged between Sony executives proves otherwise. If you read the T Magazine profile on Jaden and Willow, you would know that TriStar chairman Tom Rothman emailed a link to the interview to another bigwig along with the message that said, "Message 1, read this. 2, they are homeschooled, don't let this family date your movies." With Tom previously working with Will in 2 movies, that still didn't stop him from ridiculing the actor's kids. To the point, Will just shrugged off the comments and said, "Everybody disses my kids. To me, that's just a part of the business, and somebody's private email is, so I would never hold anyone responsible for something they said in a private email. I shouldn't know about it." But his kids seriously freaked out Sony executives, so you kinda have to own up to that and figure out what's going on with them. Number 6. Too involved with drama. So it seems like whenever something happens in the industry, it seems like the Smith family are the first ones to jump into the drama and uncover what is truly going on by inviting that suspect or person to Jada's Red Table Talk show. Just take a look at Jordan Woods. After the Kardashians Kardashians went to war with her after she ruined Khloe's relationship with her baby daddy Tristan Thompson. In an attempt to get in on all the drama, Jada invited Jordan to the Red Table Talk show to help her state her story, but in the process, all the interview would do was ruin Jordan's career even more. When Jordan should have apologized and moved on from the incident, instead she went on Jada's show to air the Kardashians' Dirty Laundry live with Jada. And as soon as that interview was over, Jordan became a laughingstock, especially when Khloe came out to name the Instagram influencer as a liar. It just seems like from time to time, the family, especially Jada, takes things a little too far and they forget that they're actors and they're not Jeffree Star.
Number 5. Noel Gallagher. The English singer and songwriter who is a member of the band Oasis has a long history of questioning other artists' musical abilities. But Noel Gallagher made a whole lot of enemies when he decided to trash Harry Styles. In fact, he hated Harry even when he was in One Direction, and decided to go on record calling the band members something that rhymes with rock suckers, and said that they would all be in rehab by the time they're 30. Not only that, but he told the Daily Star that X Factor as an institution has nothing to do with music whatsoever, and that performers and bands that came from the show don't work as hard as real musicians. Quote, "You're not telling me that Harry Styles is currently sitting in a room somewhere writing a song. With any joy, he'll be surrounded by a lot of girls. I can assure you he's not got an acoustic guitar out trying to write a middle 8 for something." Noel also claimed that his cat could have written Harry's debut single Sign of the Times in about 10 minutes. The singer has also trashed Little Mix and said that they were not in the same league as his own band, but clearly he doesn't take into account the size of a fan base either. Number 4. Billy Porter. Not everyone was happy to see Harry Styles gracing the cover of Vogue in 2020 while wearing a dress. In fact, actor and director Billy Porter felt that Harry was just copying him. In an interview with the Sunday Times, Porter slammed Harry's gender expression as performative. Quote, "He doesn't care, he's just doing it because it's the thing to do. This is politics for me, this is my life. I had to fight my entire life to get to the place where I could wear a dress to the Oscars. All he had to do is be white and straight." Porter went on to say, "I changed the whole game. I personally changed the whole game. And that is not ego, that is just fact. I was the first one doing it and now everybody's doing it. I created the conversation and yet Vogue still put Harry Styles in a dress on their cover for the first time." It's easy to see where Porter is coming from, considering that yes, he has spent years making waves in the gender-fluid fashion world, and famously arrived at the 2019 Oscars in a Kristen Siriano blazer dress, which kind of broke the internet at the time. But he also wasn't the first and only celebrity to ever push the envelope of gender binaries, so Harry shouldn't have been the target of his criticism here. Number 3. Taj Jackson. Michael Jackson's nephew was fuming when Rolling Stone UK tweeted out the cover of their November issue, which featured Harry Styles. The singer was pictured rocking a white fur stole and pink sequin shorts while holding a birthday cake with lit candles, and the title reading, "Harry Styles, How the New King of Pop Set the Music World Aflame." It's safe to say that this didn't go over too well with Taj Jackson, who immediately took to the comments to roast the magazine and demand a different title for Harry. He wrote, "There is no new king of pop. You don't own the title, Rolling Stone, and you didn't earn it. My uncle did. Decades of dedication and sacrifice. The title has been retired." The 49-year-old is the eldest child of Michael Jackson's brother Taito, and although he insisted that he wasn't disrespecting Harry, his 180,000 followers seemed to be out for blood and started joining in on the hate train against him. One user wrote, "Harry is like every other pop star, a Michael Jackson wannabe that will never be anywhere near as good or as talented as the real king of pop." Then Taj doubled down on his feelings and wrote, "There is only one king of pop, and no offense intended to Harry Styles, but he's not in the same league or universe as Michael Jackson." Wow. Number 2. Lucius. The American indie pop band did not hold back at all when they accused Harry Styles of not properly crediting them after they collaborated with the pop star on his 2019 song Treat People with Kindness. In an interview with the LA Times, the two lead vocalists, Jess Wolfe and Holly Lasig, said that Harry asked for their vocals on the song because they were already working on another song together at the time. Quote, "We were like, yeah, of course, it's just oohs and ahs, it's not a big deal, and it's a good opportunity for us, but we started singing and we were singing the whole chorus. 2 weeks later, they sent us the track and it was literally us. We started the song, we sing every chorus, just us. We trade off in the bridge, it's us and Harry Styles. The women maintain that Harry didn't even link their band when he put the song on Spotify, which they claimed robbed them of critical exposure that they needed as a relatively unknown band. Quote, "It just hurt. There was an opportunity to spread the love a little bit, which he purports to do all the time, and it could have really helped us." While the situation does sound disheartening, it might not have been something that Harry did knowingly or maliciously. And coming in at number 1, Candace Owens. A lot of people had a lot to say in 2020 when Harry Styles made history as the first male to have a solo cover of Vogue, and just happened to be wearing a dress. To no one's surprise, the controversial conservative commentator did not approve of his clothing choice at all, and so she decided to attack him on Twitter, saying, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." She caught a lot of backlash for her comments, and people were quick to call her out for being photographed wearing a suit, and flooded her comment section with phrases like, "Bring back feminine women." In response to this, Olivia Wilde called Candace pathetic for basically attacking Harry's gender expression, and conflating wearing a dress with being feminine. Then in response to that tweet, Candace hit back at Olivia, tweeting, "You're single for a reason," referencing her split from longtime partner Jason Sudeikis, which was announced just days earlier. But regardless of how many people stood up for Harry, it's pretty clear that he just doesn't like labels, especially when it comes to gendered fashion.
And number 10, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Now, it's no lie that Jennifer Lawrence's career started off strong due to some of her iconic roles in films such as The X-Men and Hunger Games. She also worked really hard for her roles in the films Winter's Bone and Silver Lining Playbook. At the time, she made us think she could do it all, and her down-to-earth personality made us all love her. But then everything started to change, and we actually all just started to get pretty annoyed with her actions. Even one time, the star appeared on SNL and began to rage on with her quirky, annoying, relatable charm, and fans started to believe that she was just another Hollywood diva hiding behind this fake cute persona. Then she started appearing in films such as Mother and Red Sparrow, which caused her career to splinter, and her fan base would then start to divide. Also, we can't forget the time in Hawaii when she caused a sacred rock fall down the mountain. Whatever the reasons may be, we all can't stop hating on this actor recently. And number 9, Katy Perry. Katy Perry is no stranger to intense media attention, as the pop star has always had high levels of public criticism. It's no lie that Katy Perry absolutely dominated the music scene in 2010 with numerous monster singles off of her album Teenage Dream. However, then the Witness era started and everyone kinda recoiled their support for the star. After Katy cut her hair and dyed it blonde, she would set out to release a string of embarrassing singles like her songs Bon Appetit and Swish Swish. Both songs were actually pretty horrifying to listen to. On top of the songs, Katy began to act really weird, and we all didn't catch on to her odd behavior until she made an appearance on Ellen, and it made us all cringe. She even had Ellen wishing the show was over. Now, Katy was dealing with depression at the time, which likely played a huge part in her odd behavior and dramatic transformation. However, her newly woke image and her ongoing feud with Taylor Swift have been pretty criticized, and it's hard to support the star as she isn't willing to grow, learn, and change. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Kanye West. Now Kanye West is iconic, and he's been pretty popular as a rapper as he's gone on to sell millions of albums. However, that hasn't stopped people from having negative opinions about him. Now, we all used to love Kanye for his ability to speak his mind, however his actions lately have us all pretty divided when it comes to supporting the star. Many people have started to view Kanye as someone who can't be trusted because it seems like everything lately seems to set the rapper off, and he's been saying a lot of controversial things that make us all just shake our heads. Kanye has been making it into headlines for the wrong reasons, and it has us all questioning why he would try to achieve fame with such meaningless and hurtful statements. I think we can all agree we miss the old Kanye. And number 7, James Charles. James Charles rose to fame quickly when he became the first male CoverGirl spokesperson spokesperson at the age of 16. However, following a feud with fellow beauty blogger Tati Westbrook, James's following would fall from 16 million to 13 million followers. The drama over James promoting Sugar Bear hair vitamins, which is a direct competitor to Tati's hair supplement company Halo Beauty, would cause both stars to cut ties with each other, and Tati would then come for James and would start to expose a list of his bad behaviors. James's behavior online to be successful and adored by thousands had covered up a dark layer of his true personality, and after Tati exposed him, he only seemed to spiral more out of control, which made us all unfollow the star as we could no longer ignore the red flags he was sending us. And number 6, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is a pretty problematic character. No matter what, he's always in the drama. He's caught lying or trying his hardest just to get in or out of drama, and it's exhausting trying to keep up with him. The man has made it his whole life to know the tea on just about every situation in Hollywood, and it really makes us wonder how he has so much time on his hands to be so problematic. Over the years, many people have started calling out the makeup guru, and his fans have a tendency to forget that he hasn't changed and that he's actually just managed to make us all think he did, so he can carry on with his chaotic lifestyle. Jeffree has a tendency to target people and belittle them in ways to make his views soar. Now, you think after being exposed so many times, he would wake up and see that his behavior is no longer okay, but it looks like he won't be changing anytime soon, as his influence has always been problematic, and that's why he's been cancelled. Number 5, Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne has recently taken aim at Prince Harry for doing a terrible thing by cutting his 3-year-old son and 1-year-old daughter off from the rest of their family. On an episode of Talk TV, the outspoken media personality and her panel discussed the trailers of Harry's bombshell TV interviews, which aired in the US and the UK on Sunday. During the debate, Sharon would say it was such an ugly situation for the children whose ties with the extended family have been cut because of Meghan and Harry's rift with the royal family. Sharon would go on to note it's finally enough as families argue all the time. And there is nothing like a good old family bust up and then you get back together again, it's normal. But what's not normal is Harry's children, as they will now be forced to grow up with no family, not on his wife's side or his side, and that's a terrible thing for children. Sharon would then claim that the time is now turning against Harry and Meghan in the United States, and it seems like only the younger generation is continuing to support them by saying, I think older generations have definitely had it up to here with their whining. Number 4, Jeremy Clarkson. Former Top Gear host Jeremy Clarkson has never been more sensitive of souls. The TV personality has built a career of offending pretty much every minority group, so it wasn't really surprising that he didn't think much of Prince Harry, barring his soul in his docu-series in 2021. Jeremy would say, this man is an army officer, so he should know better than to make a program in which he waxes lyrical about the awfulness of his upbringing. Jeremy would then add, the me you can't see is wit, and it should really be called the me you don't want to see, as that's nearer to the mark. He then put forward the theory that spoiled brats will end up overshadowing those individuals who seriously need help with their mental health. Jeremy would then claim that Harry's stiff upper lip approach has to work wonders. It's clear that Jeremy thinks Harry should know better than to complain about his upbringing, and Harry also calling out Jeremy for inciting violence towards women in cruel columns in The Sun dreaming of Meghan's shame parade. It's clear that the two have a mutual hate towards each other, and it's clear that Jeremy also didn't like the docu-series, as he took to his column in The Sun and wished Meghan was treated like dirt. And while he did take to Twitter to apologize for his clumsy reference, he wouldn't apologize to Harry and Meghan. We'll probably never see that. Number 3, we have Candace Owens. Conservative commentator Candace Owens has never been one to mince her words, so it wasn't really unexpected that she would deliver one of the most scathing responses to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's talk with Oprah Winfrey. After watching the interview, Candace would put forward this theory that Harry was in an emotionally abusive relationship. Candace would then go on to imply that the couple, implying that everything was happening to them because of the color of Meghan's skin, was becoming a sickening level of scapegoating. What Harry's doing to his family is unforgivable. Candace would throw a major dig at Harry following the premiere of his Apple TV docu-series The Me You Can't See by referring the mental health docu-series. Candace would say in a tweet, "It's been 3 days since Prince Harry offered an exclusive interview regarding of how much he and Meghan hate his family. Can someone check on them, please? Number 2, Piers Morgan. One can argue that Piers Morgan has a personal vendetta against Meghan Markle, which appears to stem solely from the time she apparently ghosted him after a date. However, it's clear that he doesn't really like Harry whatsoever as well, as Prince Harry regularly ends up in the crosshairs of the disgraced ex-newspaper editor. In the space of just 1 month in 2021, Morgan went on a rant and claimed that the royal only criticized the First Amendment because he doesn't want to be held accountable by the press, and Piers would also tweet that Harry is a hypocrite who makes money off his public family drama. Piers would then offer his support to Noel Gallagher in his anti-Harry tirade. Of course, Morgan has also had plenty of time to weigh in on the Sussexes in general, since he walked away from his hosting gig on TV show Good Morning Britain Live after a fellow presenter challenged his constant harassment of Markle. However, after walking away, it's only given him more freedom to support his dislike towards both Harry and Meghan, and some of the things he said proves that he doesn't just have a personal vendetta towards Meghan, he hates both of the royals. At number 1 today, we have Noel Gallagher. During the peak of Britpop era, Noel Gallagher was deemed by many, including Prime Minister Tony Blair, to be the voice of his generation. Indeed, even if you weren't a fan of the Oasis Beatle aping indie rock, you could always appreciate a snappy one-liner from their guitarist Noel Gallagher. But a quarter century on, and Noel is in danger of sounding like the kind of person he used to rally against. In a 2021 interview with The Sun, Noel would describe Prince Harry as an effing woke snowflake in response to his criticism of the royal family, and referencing his own sibling rivalry with Liam Gallagher. Noel would admit that he sympathizes with Prince William, as he has a younger brother who is running his mouth off with things that are just really unnecessary to say, and that's why Noel finds himself being a lot like William. Noel has never been afraid to take a good jab at Meghan as well, as he would also say that everything is happening right now is happening because they got an American involved in their family matters. He would then ask viewers, how much of a C is Prince Harry? Coming at number 10 today, we have Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's trouble with Madonna is so long and shady that she could probably ultimately take every point on this list today. After Gaga was deemed the second coming of Madonna, the dueling divas made fun of their alleged feud on Saturday Night Live. However, Madonna later dissed Lady Gaga in real life, when Gaga's music is reductive in comparison to her own performing deliberate mashups of Born This Way and Express Yourself to seemingly highlight the similarities. Gaga would then tell a radio show in 2016 that she and Madonna were very different and that she wouldn't make that comparison at all, and she didn't mean to disrespect Madonna. Gaga would also go on to say, but I play a lot of instruments, I write my own music, I spend hours and hours a day in the studio, I'm a producer, I'm a writer, what I do is different. I'm not just rehearsing over and over again to put on a show. There is spontaneity to my work. I allow myself to fall, I allow myself to break, I'm not afraid of my flaws, I just will not be compared to anyone anymore. I am who the F I am, and this is me. Number 9, Cher. In a 1991 interview, Cher discussed Madonna and her dislike towards the star, and it was pretty juicy as she made herself very loud and clear about her lackluster opinion of Madonna. When the interviewer asked the singer if she goes jogging like the Material Girl, Cher would respond by saying, "Do you mean my very best friend Madonna?" The interviewer then said that the question was made to drag Madonna into the conversation, and Cher responded by saying, "How about dragging her in by her hair?" The believed singer then continued to say, "In my day, I was pretty good at doing the same thing that she's doing, but she does it so much better. She's unbelievably creative because she's not talented, she's not beautiful, but she's rude. But I really don't have anything against her. I do respect that she goes further than anyone else should go." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, David Letterman. David Letterman has disliked Madonna ever since she sat down for an interview with him in 1994 for The Late Show with David Letterman. Madonna was obnoxious and crass during the interview that she would probably make the modern day Miley Cyrus blush, and her actions pretty much left David speechless. During the interview, Madonna went on to drop a handful of F-bombs that just seemed endless. She even proceeded to give David Letterman a pair of her underwear and then proceeded to try to get him to sniff them. Not to mention when her segment ended, she just refused to leave the stage, while David proceeded to tell Madonna people didn't want to hear her swearing in their homes. When he tried to end the interview, Madonna would say, "Can't this go on?" and Letterman would fire back saying, "Feels like it already has." Madonna would then later claim that her disastrous appearance was her way of protesting against television censorship, but I don't think any of us really believe that. Number 7, we have Mariah Carey. Madonna definitely did some critical damage when she slammed Mariah in a 1996 interview, telling Spin that Mariah's music wasn't art and that if she had to sing Mariah's catalog, she would take her own life. Little did Madonna know that she would open herself a huge can of shade that would span on for decades because no one ever served shade better than Mariah Carey. When MTV News asked Mariah about Madonna's comment in early 1996, she would shrug and say, "I haven't paid attention to Madonna since I was like in 7th or 8th grade when she used to be popular, so I didn't hear that." Later in an interview in 1998, Mariah would double down on her comments about Madonna after she was asked what she thought about Madonna and Mariah, and she said, "I haven't heard the new album. Growing up, I liked her first album a lot. That was really popular. Good for her." And then 7 times throughout the interview, Mariah would allegedly mock Madonna, not by her name, but using a faux British accent. Number 6, Elton John. Sir Elton John and Madonna's feud lasted more than a decade. Back in 2002, their feud began when Elton called her song "Die Another Day" the worst Bond tune ever. Then in 2003, he would slam Madonna's nomination for Best Live Act at the Q Awards, saying on stage, "Since when has lip syncing been live? Anyone who lip syncs in public on stage when you pay £75 to see them should be shot." This is when Madonna reportedly started to return Elton's Christmas cards, and she even rejected his invitation to perform at his bachelor party. In January 2012, John and his husband David Furnish would both end up slamming Madonna publicly when her song Masterpiece from WE beat out John's contributions to Romeo and Juliet at the Golden Globes. That July, he said on Australian TV, "Who is she? Such a nightmare. Sorry, her career is over. Her tour has been a disaster and it couldn't happen to be a bigger B. And she looks like an effing fairground stripper." In 2016, Elton would even reveal on the Graham Norton show that he and Madonna did eventually bury their hatchet by saying, "I was in a restaurant in south of France a couple years ago when she walked in and I sent her a note saying, 'You'll probably never speak to me again, but I'm really sorry and ashamed of myself, and can I buy you dinner?' She was very gracious and accepted, and we talked. We are fine, it's just me and my big mouth." Number 5. Embarrass Snoop Dogg. Just after Kobe passed away in 2020, Snoop Dogg was quick to call out Gayle King after she stated in a TV interview that in the past Kobe has been accused of making unwanted advances on a woman who wasn't his wife. In an interview video, Snoop Dogg would call out King. In the process, he insulted King's appearance before telling her, "Back off, B, before we come get you." As a result of the outburst, instead of having a private conversation with her close friend, Jada would bring Snoop Dogg on her Red Table Talk show where she would embarrass him, not only in front of her mother and her daughter, but also in front of the whole world. After she told the rapper that she felt hurt on behalf of all women when she watched the video of him going after Gayle. As a result, Snoop Dogg was so embarrassed that he would make another video on his Instagram where he would apologize to King by saying, "When you're wrong, you gotta fix it." A derogatory manner based off of emotions? I was raised better than that, so I would like to apologize to you publicly for the language that I used, calling you out of your name and just being disrespectful. But full on, she didn't need to bring him on the talk show to get him to say this. Number 4, drag Tupac's name. If you ever wondered how Tupac would have gotten involved with such a vile woman, you're not alone, as even decades after his passing, people are still wondering what his relationship really was with Jada, especially since she came out to pretty much diss the rapper by saying, "When we first met, I was a dealer." With the two forming a connection while they were both studying at the Baltimore School of Arts, the actor would have to clarify that something very bad happened to make her leave her dealing life behind. And then she would reveal how she got involved with Tupac, and the more she got involved with him, she started to realize that her relationship with the rapper was more just about survival. And then after his passing, it would be noted that Jada broke Tupac's heart after getting with Will Smith, and she would then ask Tupac not to hurt Will, but that was never his intention, and he was hurt that she would say such a thing. Also, the fact she still talks about him today like he's still the love of her life is actually just pretty messed up and really sus. Number 3. Scientologist. Although Jada has tried to claim that she isn't a Scientologist, she has been connected to the controversial religion for years, to the point even an ex-Scientologist named Lee told the Daily Beast in 2017, "I know Jada. She's been in Scientology for a long time. I never saw Will there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center." Lee would then later appear alongside Jada in 2018 for Jada's Red Table talk show, where the pair settled their dispute, and Jada would say, "My grandmother was like, you're gonna learn all the religion, and then you gotta decide which one you want to practice. I always took the position that I'm here at the Scientology Center to learn what I want to learn, and I have no interest in being a Scientologist. But if you had no interest in being a Scientologist, then why did you open a Scientology school?" Number 2. Embarrassed Will Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has never missed the opportunity to embarrass her husband, especially when she heads over to the Red Table talk show. When Gwyneth Paltrow was even a guest of honor on the episode, Jada quickly came under fire for taking the opportunity to embarrass her husband after the two started to talk about their intimate lives. And the spice started to seem a little too much for Will's biggest fans. Not only did Jada take the time to bring up her entanglement, but she also went on to tell Gwyneth that she and Will navigate intimacy in the relationship and that it wasn't as smooth and easy as both of them thought it would be, especially when she noted that she just expected Will to know what she needed when it came to her intimate needs. When she said, "If you love me, you should read my mind." Twitter users then started to imply that Jada was oversharing or going out of her way to call out Will, and they were extremely disappointed that she would play Will like this. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Makes Kids Diss Will live. With Jada's Red Table talk show being pretty controversial at this point, we shouldn't really be surprised when she takes every opportunity she can to make her husband seem like he's the bad guy. Especially when she brought her own children on the show to discuss the problems they had with both Jada's and Will's parenting skills. But the whole thing just turned on Will to make him look like the bad guy with no control. In the episode, Willow would tell Jada that she was extremely upset with the way Will handled her success after she released her 2010 song, "Whip My Hair," when she said, "I only have one terrible experience, which is whip my hair. Just the values of people around me should have been the opposite. You and Daddy should have been okay. We value her musical growth and knowledge more than her popularity." Jada then went on to say that Will's approach was definitely different because they both had different childhoods, but you guys both grew up with hurt and pain, so that just doesn't make sense. Coming in at number 10 today, we have Kate Middleton. When sibling rivalry is a common thing, Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle have drama that is a bit more than that. When news started to arise that there was a lot of tension between Kate and Meghan as the two were not getting along, this meant that Harry and William were also not getting along. With the whole family not seeing eye to eye, it became super hard on everyone, including the Queen. It said that the Queen was actually so fed up with the drama that she even ordered Kate and Meghan to sit down and sort it all out. With Kate feeling like Meghan was using her to climb the royal ladder, Kate would even use this time to state that she was very suspicious of Meghan and that she had no interest in becoming Meghan's friend. Soon the media would even start to state that Meghan made Kate cry on her wedding day. Although Kate would end up sending Meghan flowers to apologize, Kate still didn't want to have an opportunity to become close to the actress. It said that Kate was really hesitant about pursuing a friendship with Meghan when they first met, as Kate is a very private person and she likes to keep things that way. While Kate tends to keep a really tight circle, she doesn't let a lot of people in, and she's always felt like there was something extremely off with Meghan. While the tension between the two has become more tense, the royal family, including Kate, have decided to cut Meghan and Harry out for continuing to spread lies about the royal family in an attempt to tarnish their legacy. At number 9, Piers Morgan. The feud between Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle tends to get pretty nasty at times. While Piers has stated over and over since the beginning that Meghan was a liar and that we shouldn't dive too deep into her story, we probably should have listened to him. Piers' relationship with Meghan began back in 2015 when the actress apparently messaged Piers after he had followed some of her Suits castmates. While Meghan went on to claim that she was a big fan of him in the beginning, I think it's safe to say that she probably isn't a big fan now. When things rapidly started to disintegrate between the two after Meghan became a household name thanks to her romance with Prince Harry, it seems like their feud first started to boil over Meghan's first message to him. In 2016, after Piers and Meghan had been in constant communication with each other, when Meghan went to a private members club where she met Prince Harry, Piers would then never hear from Meghan again. So it's clear that her relationship relationship with Piers was only for clickbait so she could get some views. However, when Harry came around, she realized that she could get everything she wanted before Piers could give it to her, and essentially she left Piers behind. As soon as it was announced that Meghan was dating Harry, that's when his first dig towards Meghan came public, and since he's continued to mock her and call her out on her behavior. Now, we have seen dozens of people get ghosted by Meghan when she sees that their relationship isn't getting her anywhere in the spotlight, as we've seen her do it to her friends, her ex-husband, and almost all of her family. Hey Peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Wendy Williams. It's no lie that Wendy Williams loves talking about celebrity gossips. While hosting the Wendy Williams show back in 2021, she didn't shy away from her true thoughts about Meghan Markle when Meghan and Harry made the decision to leave the royal family. Now, after Wendy watched the groundbreaking interview Meghan and Harry had with Oprah, she would cast her own doubts about Meghan and claim that her friends actually tried to warn Meghan not to marry Prince Harry because the media probably wouldn't be too kind to her, as they're not really kind to any of the royal family. With Wendy claiming that Meghan weaseled her way into the kingdom before leaving the United Kingdom for Los Angeles, with Wendy claiming that Meghan was lying about her story, Wendy would then claim that Meghan should have listened to her friends instead of pretending not to get it when her friends warned her about the British media's fixation on the royals. Wendy would also state that Meghan knew what she was getting herself into when she joined the royal family and that no one really has sympathy for her. Wendy would then try to claim that Meghan knew what she was doing because no one knew her when she was on Suits, and Wendy only knew her prior to becoming a royal because she wanted to be a runway model for her company and came in for an interview. Coming in number 7, we have Corey Vitiello. So it appears that Meghan Markle was still living with Canadian Society chef Corey Vitiello when she went on her first date with Prince Harry. In a recently published biography, Tom Bauer would then claim that Meghan was still living with Corey when she set up a date with Prince Harry in London back in 2016. Tom would write that the romantic relationship between Corey and Meghan was hanging on by a thread before she left for Europe in the summer of 2016, yet both were still having troubles with discussing on how their relationship would end. With Corey still living in the couple's house while Meghan left for the United Kingdom, he had no idea that their relationship was completely doomed. The two first met when Meghan was eating at his restaurant with Suits cast, and Meghan even gushed over Corey in a review in The Take where she dubbed Corey as her favorite chef. When their relationship had finally run its course, instead of breaking things off with Corey, she went to England to seek a new romance. While in England, Meghan would then be set up on a date with Harry by a friend. And then, when Harry came to visit Meghan in Toronto, Corey would realize that the relationship was officially over and Meghan's cruel and sensitive soul would be revealed to the world. Coming in at number 6, we have Trevor Engelson. If anyone knows the true colors of Meghan Markle, then it would be her ex-husband Trevor Engelson. Trevor, who is a producer, has kept it pretty tight-lipped when it comes to talking about Meghan. However, when royal biographer Andrew Morton released a book on Meghan called Meghan, a Hollywood Princess, the book would dive into the idea that Trevor actually had a lot to say about Meghan. He was actually just waiting for someone to believe his side of the story. According to Andrew, Trevor actually dislikes Meghan. When Trevor and Meghan first got married, everything was fine. However, after she started to rise to fame, she would begin to treat Trevor like the dirt under her shoe. And if this isn't giving you any red flags, then maybe I should bring up the fact that the palace staff has also said that once Meghan moved in, she also treated them like the dirt under her shoe. Trevor felt elevated in their marriage at first. He didn't really think anything was going wrong. However, things finally ended and it would leave behind a never-ending cold fury towards Meghan. With Meghan once claiming that she couldn't imagine her life without Trevor, she would then mail him back his wedding ring instead of breaking things off in person, and she would then come to the house to collect her blender. And it said that Meghan initially just called things off because he refused to cast her in any of his shows. Number 5. Messed with August Alsina. Just weeks after August Alsina dropped his bombshell revelation interview, Jada would be forced to confirm that the pair did in fact dive into a romantic relationship, and after she left August, he would be left feeling devastated because Jada took advantage of his mindset when he was at his lowest point of his life. With Jada previously saying that she was mentoring him through a tough part of his life, it made us all question what kind of mentoring she was giving him, where he felt like he was giving his all to a relationship that left him feeling devastated in her. With August being diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, he spent most of his relationship in and out of the hospital, which made it easy for Jada to get her hands on him and to consort him into a relationship that ended up destroying him when she threw him to the trash after her husband agreed to take her back. Number 4. Blaming everyone but themselves. When Jada and her family decided to Get Real during one of the Red Table Talk show's episodes, we would learn that the whole family has a problem with keeping their egos under control, as from time to time, we have seen them all admit that they weren't the nicest people to be around, and that you can't always trust them based on the way they have made themselves look. With the family doing some very unloving things to the people they love the most because of their fear in their ego, it seems like once their ego kicks in, if they are in trouble, they become vicious and mean. Even when they are in pain, instead of being more vulnerable to talk about their issues, they shut themselves off and blame everyone else around them as the problem. And this has become a deep problem for the family because they won't let themselves be open and release the pain, and instead they hide it away, they let it build up, so when it does finally release, it explodes and it creates one giant mess. Just look at the Oscars incident for an example. Number 3, bad parenting. So it turns out that the bigwigs at Sony aren't the only ones who have questions about Will and Jada's parenting skills. Things got real for the family in 2014 when a picture of their daughter started to go viral after it showed Willow in bed with a shirtless 20-year-old man. With the photo slowly starting to become a viral meme, it would soon spark a police investigation and family services to look into the snap of Willow, which was posted online but removed shortly after. Sources would then tell Radar Online that Will and Jada were extremely cooperative with officials, but they weren't really happy about all the scrutiny they were facing when it came to their parenting skills. Social workers would then have to talk to Willow and the man in the picture, which forced Jada to eventually break her silence on the matter when she was approached by the press at an airport in Los Angeles, and she would tell E! News in that process, here's the deal, there's nothing bad about that picture or the situation, you guys are projecting your trash onto it and you're acting like you know better, which is not cool. Number 2, Jada's lie. Jada hasn't exactly put her family into a great position, especially since she has proved that producers and hiring agents actually can't really rely on her family's word, especially since she has admitted to lying to get a gig. As Jada once revealed that when she was offered a role in The Matrix Reloaded, she was pregnant and she sort of lied just so she could secure the job. Though the role was perfect for her, she may have lost out on the opportunity to play the part if she had been 100% truthful, as she was pregnant with her daughter Willow at the time, and the filming schedule required her to begin in November. But there was a small problem with her daughter Willow also being due that very same month. In a video for Vanity Fair, Jada would tell the outlet that she lied just a bit so she could get the role because she was obsessed with the idea of being in the movie, especially since she lost out on the lead role. So she told them her baby was going to be born in October. Luckily for her, Willow came early, otherwise the production would have been delayed or Jada could have ended up being replaced. Either way, productions have been scared of facing similar issues when it comes to hiring this family. And coming in number 1 today, dropping contracts. While the work Will has done has definitely proved that he's a man with a bright future ahead of him because he's a talented actor, when it comes to Jada's work, she hasn't really yielded stellar results. And maybe that's why when it comes to Willow's career, she isn't afraid to back out of last-minute movie deals. Take Annie for an example. It was a much anticipated remake of a beloved Broadway musical, and when the production on the film ended up being stalled because Willow decided to drop out of the lead role, the final product failed to hit the $100 million mark at the box office, which is an essential milestone for any family movie released over the holidays. With most critics finding the movie sucked, with Willow dropping out of Annie, she made the whole film feel like it was a giant missed opportunity and a big letdown. And it has producers wondering if they go to hire her in the future if she's going to back out of their films as well.